it down, yeah. So it's on the record.
What? No. Just, all right.
Oh, you hit the mic and you're good.
It's 6 o'clock, opening our call to order for our meeting for February 3rd, 2006. Do I have a motion to convene to executive session?
Motion to convene to executive session. Approval of executive session minutes for January 6, 2026. Review and/or approve matters which relate to the privacy of students in their records pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42465A 8. Homeschool request. Update on STA negotiations pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42465A 2. Collective bargaining pursuant to General Laws 42465A 1. Job performance, character, or physical mental health of a person, provided that the person affected shall have been notified to advance in writing and advised that they may require that the discussion be held at an opening meeting. Review and/or approve matters which relate to the privacy of students and their records pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42465A 8. Homeschool request. Update on STA's teachers negotiation pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42465A 2. Collective bargaining. Update an ESP custodian negotiation pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 5A2. Collective bargaining. Collective bargaining with General Teamsters Local 251 bus monitors pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42465A 2. Collective bargaining. Potential litigation pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42465A 2. And collective bargaining pursuant Rhode Island General Laws 42465A 2.
Second.
Any questions? Okay, we move to executive session. Do I have to vote?
You need a vote.
Oh, do we have a vote to go into executive session?
All those in favor?
All those in favor, thank you.
Aye.
All those in.
Aye.
Aye.
We're in executive.
Let you know, we did have 2 votes during our executive session. We've voted to approve the minutes from January 5th. And the committee appointed, oh, I'm sorry. Second vote was for, I'm sorry. Oh, homeschooling. Yeah. January 6th. Is
The
it
minutes were from January. Yeah.
January 6th? 5th, January. I stand corrected. It was January 6th meeting. The minutes were approved. And the second vote was for homeschooling. The committee also appointed 2 committee members to work on our collective bargaining, general Teamsters, and it will be Colleen Pendergast with Dave Medbury. Other than that, there were no other announcements. So we did just complete the building tour for anyone who came with us. Thank you. It was actually, I've been through it a couple of times, but every time I see it, I'm always amazed at this building, the old, the newer, everything. So it was actually very nice. So we are now in executive session.
The open.
Open session.
Yeah,
We're in an open
next.
session. So we're gonna, can we pledge allegiance first?
Ask about executive session.
And where's the flag? Oh,
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
must have to do this. Consent agenda.
The exits are here. Not the ones that say no exit.
So Mr. Finnegan, I know you're standing in front of me, but public comments not till later. Do you
No,
want
this
to
is
wait?
Executive session. I got a question in executive session.
Okay.
Bullet point number 6 and 7, it's just 6 says potential litigation, and it gives the round general.
Mr. Finnegan, could you just state your name and address for the record, please?
Again, Ridge Road.
Thank you.
And then 7 is bullet point 7, collective bargaining, and it gives the general law. That's all it says. If you look above that, it talks about collective bargaining with the general Teamsters local. So it tells us who it's with. Do you know why that's? We crossed off.
Yeah, we were advised by, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That was one of the other ones.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank
Okay.
you. That's all.
Okay, we have the consent agenda.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from January 6, 2026, the regular session meeting.
So moved.
We just need a second. I
Need a second?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye. I make a motion to approve the general fund bills in the amount of $1,033,337.30. Grant fund bills in the amount of $66,051.64. And nutrition fund bills in the amount of $40,304.98.
Second.
In favor?
Aye. I make a motion for budget transfer for central office and district accounts in the amount of $5,901,133.16.
Second.
So can we just hear a little bit
Oh.
about that?
Mhm.
Your motion in a second. I'm sorry, I just jumped into discussion.
So we're going to motion to it and then for discussion. You want to have discussion?
Yeah, my question, I mean, obviously these are, there's nothing nefarious here, but when we're talking about transferring $5 million, I think it needs a little bit of, yeah, just if you want to just give me a brief, or the public rather.
Hello, yes, thank you. So in your packet and attached to the agenda was a transfer request. The transfer request is based on the end of year projection, the spending projection for fiscal 26 this year. Normally we would do a projection, say like in November, once we get our spending established, and then again in March as we approach the end of the year to make sure that we are spending in such a way that we don't overrun our budget. This year, because of, for whatever reason, we're doing the end of year projection, and this projection fulfills both roles. So the 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 process to do the projection, basically I took the existing budget, looked at our spending year to date, our encumbrances, and then went through each of the major categories such as transportation, out of district tuitions, whatnot. And then I also met with each of the principals and functional leaders like Barry for facilities, and looked at what spending requirements were needed between now and the end of the year for um, you know situations that have come up. So you'll notice on those that I summarized on attachment A, which was, I called it the summary of strategic redeployment of funds. So for instance, on that, if you go to attachment A, some of the notable items there are, some of the are smaller items like window shades, bathroom stalls and sinks for this school. We were just talking about that on the tour. The condensate tank to fix the boiler here, because that's a notable, I'm mentioning that because that's a notable issue. Oh, okay. So we're going to ask to, we're going to try to put this up on the screen. It's part of the fiscal report. No, I don't, no, I mentioned that just for the
Yeah,
other
so,
folks.
and whatever works, Linda, whatever works easier. If you want to get into this more in depth when you do the fiscal report, I just thought it was important. We're making a
Yeah.
motion for like almost $6 million.
I-
Just
I-
wanted a little something put out.
No.
Under no circumstances do we have an extra 6 mil hanging around.
No.
Do we, it's.
No, this is not a transfer in. This is
Yeah.
the
Reallocation.
most of this is reallocation based on UCOA codes, and it's within objects. So,
However, it's easier for you to proceed. I'm comfortable. I just thought, I wanted to make sure.
no, I want to just, whatever I can do to answer questions to make, so, sorry, oh, I forgot where I left off, but bottom line is, so the majority of the transfer amount was within the same object code and was transfers for, UCOA regions to make sure that to align the transactions to the appropriate, state designated UCOA account. But then as we were going through it, we aligned with our spending projection between now and the end of the year. And as I was starting to say, we earmarked some funds for, emergent problems. Like I said, as I was saying before, was the condensate tank at the school, bathroom shades at the school, security cameras for the high school, and the press box for the concession stand at the high school. Now, I mentioned those specifically because those are items not that we're planning to spend, but the purpose would be to earmark them in the appropriate account between now and to the end of the year. And again, this is just a projection. It's not carved in stone. And that if our spending patterns hold, and if some of the, what I'll call, some of the storms on the horizons don't break, and those funds are available, then we could use them for those things, and if something happens, if we end up with, requirements for those funds that are mandated, then we wouldn't be able to, that we would transfer out of those accounts. So that's I'll just end there, and we can talk about it more when we get to the fiscal report, but I'm certainly happy to answer any questions.
We had a motion to second. Now we need to, all in favor?
Aye.
So approved. I don't know. We have a presentation on Hope Village Legacy Project. Is Rob here? Mr.
Hey.
Bauer?
Good evening, I'm Rob Bauer, 21 Sutton Sun Drive, Hope. Is this on? Yep. So thank you for allowing me to tell you a little bit about our Hope Village Legacy Project. Some of you may be familiar with it, others may not. Um, we started as a small group of local citizens here in the village, thinking about how we can jumpstart planning for a better village with all the challenges we have. We were fortunate to get a grant from an outside firm from up to about $150,000 of planning from engineers and consultants. And we had several meetings through the course of last year with them. They absorbed all the information and prepared a vision plan for our Village of Hope. And we were able to present that at a conference in Providence last year. We were fortunate there were only 3 legacy projects, one in Providence, which got more publicity, one in New Bedford, and right here in Hope Village. So
Congratulations.
thank you. So now comes the hard part, the implementation. So we're just we're a town appointed committee, but we're trying to lift up each piece of this with the appropriate departments and school committees and so forth. So I just want to let's move to the next. Yeah, Chris has got it up there. Nick's got it up there. The next slide is this just the overall approach. We want a walkable village. We want to focus on connectivity, both coming in and out and moving around the village. And of course, we know there's money available, but what we lacked was a clear plan. So now we have that. Next slide. So the major initiatives were, of course, mostly infrastructure. We have the sewer and possibility, the septic problems. Hope Mill, obviously, there's always the elephant in the room. Hope Dam, always concerns there. So we're looking at all these things and trying to get discussions and movement toward solutions. Streets, traffic patterns, keeping the traffic, slowing it down and making the streets safer for both pedestrians and drivers. Of course, parking is a problem in the village, and they looked at that and made some recommendations. And then the last piece is incremental development. How can we grow the village appropriate with our historic background? And so those are the things. Where do they impact the school? So parking is an important issue. If you look at this next slide, this one here, you'll see that the elementary school parking lot is the largest parking area in the village. And it's already used off hours for civic events and so forth. But the idea the planners said was, can we improve that lot, make it a little larger and make it maybe even safer for the buses and the kids? Their suggestion was to move the recreation equipment to the back of the school. There is land back there. That would be a possibility. And then reconfigure the lot in the safest way possible and allow easier walkable connectivity to the village green and so forth. That was the idea presented. If you go to the next slide, you'll see their kind of layout. The 2 things besides connecting to the library and the trails, you probably know you've got a wonderful environmental laboratory down here within walking distance of the school, but it's not easy to get to. From our land trust, we're working on trying to open that up so you can actually walk down there from the school. But the major focus there was parking with the large parking lot and trying to accomplish the things I just mentioned. The idea is safety, and I actually have personal experience with that. My kids are long gone. They're alumni of Scituate schools, including Hope Elementary. And years ago, my wife was dropping the boys off and backed into the basketball pool and damaged the car. So
And you're still talking about it.
I'm still thinking about it. But that was the suggestion, and there is land back there that could be a possibility. The other item that, of course, would impact, if we are successful in growing the village in a positive way, of course, that impacts the schools, and we would want to keep in close touch with you as to how how it would impact, and that's kind of on the horizon a little further away. But some of the initial things are the connectivity, the crosswalk from the building to the library. Want to improve that. The DOT is doing a surfacing project in the next year or so, and we've been in touch with them to see if we can work with what was suggested in the plan. So that plan is available on the town website. If you go to the homepage, situateri.gov, at the top is residents, and then to the document center. And you'll scroll down, you'll find the link to the Connecting with Hope. I tried to keep this to less than 15 minutes, so I'm happy to answer any question you might have at this point. But in the future, anytime we can bring our folks to you and discuss more. I don't know whether your building committee would be involved, or we could also present to the PTA. We don't have a lot of power. We are a town appointed committee, but we really need to work with the town and with the school to accomplish these things. They're your decision. If they make sense to you, we can help look for funding and try to move toward the solutions.
So just, did they provide you with any like cost figures of what it would and again, guesstimates of what? And my second question, maybe to tie into that, and I could be off base, but I remember, I'm going back, and you know this area much better than I do down here. There's land back here that I don't know that we own it. Is that accurate? There's something in my mind. There was am I making any sense to what?
You're correct in terms of the street and so forth. It's sort of a right of way back there. But you do own back to that point, and there is enough room to create a playground back there and so forth. It is wooded, part of it, but according to the land records, and the consultants looked at this as well, it would be possible to do that.
Okay,
Yeah. As far as costs, we really didn't get into that. The next step would be to have an engineer look at it and a plan and take this a little further. I just like to kind of have you think about it and kind of let us know if you're serious about moving forward, and we can work together to try to see what's possible. It's possible the town engineer could do that. We have presented to both the plan commission and the town, so they know what we're up to, and we're just trying to pretty much stick to the plan that was proposed and see if it's doable.
And I appreciate you being upfront with this and getting it out to the people too, because people are going to hear, oh, they're getting rid of our playground. And
Exactly.
that's not what
Yeah.
you're saying,
No,
right? Like, this is not, but I think it's important to like, so that we have as much, we're not making any decisions tonight, right? You're just
Sure.
kind of like information.
Exactly.
Did they, did any of the plans indicate how many, because it is a very, I don't want to use strange layout out there, and
Yeah.
it's not, and we've worked with what we've had. How many spaces are there now, and what would they be looking to maybe move it to?
Nick, if you can go back to that slide that shows the parking lot. I don't have the numbers on the exact
Yeah.
spaces, but you can see that they would configure that lot with more spaces, with an idea of, I think, an ingress, incoming, and buses would go around and outgoing. That would all be determined by the engineer and the safest way we could do it. But the idea would be to improve it. So like you say, there'd be better. You drive in and oh, where do I go? Where can I
Right.
park? And this kind of thing. There'd be better direction as to where to park and so forth.
I think the other point that you brought up that's very valid is, obviously we're a school first, right? But Hope is a beautiful village, but we don't have a lot of industry. Like, we're the biggest spot, right? Like, where else? And we need to work collaboratively. Obviously, anything that we're looking to do to expand space or parking would be for all after hours things. We're not looking to,
Exactly. Yes, we understand.
yeah, that's,
Yeah. And
So-
yeah, you're right. It's like working together to improve. There are a lot of issues with housing and everything else around the state. And I think the consensus is we love our open spaces and so forth, and we don't want to encroach on them with our housing, which means we got to have bigger density, more density in the appropriate places. And this consultant suggested we can do that by, multifamily kind of things. And how do we get younger folks in here in a way that they can afford the property and keep our taxes down and so forth? It's not easy, but that's the plan and that's the idea. And I think we can work toward it.
Mr. Bauer, I have a question,
Sure.
unless I misunderstood. So if we moved the playground into the back area, So you could build up more spaces in the parking lot
Yeah.
to have access to the village. But we need that parking lot secure for during the daytime for
Sure.
students. So I'm just because what I'm seeing is like a walkway from the parking
Exactly.
lot
See
down.
the
So,
lower right
yeah.
corner there, yeah.
so that
Yeah.
would have to be secure during the day.
What-
Would it-
my
See, there's a
question is-
path.
And principals jump in. So I'm visualizing that we need to secure that walkway because we have a playground out there and we have kids going
Yeah.
out to that playground. If
Right.
this was, if we were utilizing space in back of the school, like most of our schools don't have their parking lots closed. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
during
Yeah.
the day,
Mhm.
the
Right.
perimeter, the doors are locked, the this or that. But
All of that would have to be worked
Yeah.
out. And obviously, yes, we could
just
close.
take
the
that into
gate during the
consideration
day
and
and
Yeah.
for
safety.
events and things. So,
Or during the
yeah.
weekends, maybe.
Yeah, weekends. Yeah.
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 But during the week.
Yeah, it's not, we're really not trying to encroach on the school, but how can we work together to make a
it could be mutually beneficial too, right? Like if we're talking about
Sure.
better space for drop off and
Right.
pick up.
actually playground and all that?
On it, or
Right.
the schools having their own events, right? Like,
Right.
like very
Exactly.
active.
Open it up and yeah.
It could-
Well, who's responsible now? I mean.
The school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's school grounds.
yeah. But if it's sold as a sharing municipal, maybe we could work out an arrangement with the town or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair point, but you're also looking at grant funding or other things if we were to go in to move forward with this project. So
Yes.
we're still maintaining a playground the way it is now, whether it be out back there or here.
Right.
But no, those are fair
And
points.
we're finding money available. The funders love these plans that are well-written and where we have joint buy-in from the participants.
Sure.
And so we think it's possible to get money for that, and town could support as well. So thank you for hanging
Great.
out. Appreciate it.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
And next on the agenda, we have a presentation by Ms. Tomei.
Hi, everyone. I am Becca Toomey, the principal here at Hope. Thank you so much for inviting me to come speak with you tonight. I'm so excited to share the growth of our students and the amazing instructional work that our teachers are doing and all the family support that's happening around Hope. We've made a really lot of great gains in the last few years, and we're really excited to share that with you all tonight. So that being said, while I am super excited about our test scores that I'll be sharing with you a little later in the presentation, the students were really excited to put together a video for you of all the things that they're learning here at Hope.
Good job.
Hey, Bobby, what are you learning?
I'm learning my letters, my letters and my sound.
Tell
And
me,
what
where
word
did
did
you
you have
have
Luciana's parents? Minor. Who else? Agree? Do you have minor or have them somewhere else?
That means it's two words put together. She's already thinking of them. What are they?
We are.
In book clubs today, we are learning how to write responses using the research strategy.
In our book, How I Became a Ghost, about historical fiction. Hi, my name is Tessa Laser. Today we are going to write about Groundhog's Day. We wrote about Groundhog's Day yesterday, and now we're copying it off in our very best handwriting with edits that Miss Genji did in red. Capital letter, beginning and period at the end.
Question. Cite evidence from the text. Explain how the evidence support your answer and sum it up.
And what are you going to use all those things for?
My cat.
How many sounds do you hear? 4 sounds.
Main character of the book, Sound of Running Feet, and her main plot is she's wanted for being a warrior, and it's against the rules because only men can be in the war.
I'm learning about multiplication and division.
So, I got a game where you
And what was the equation? 3 plus 4 equals?
7.
I am adding and rounding by rounding decimals so I can count money when I'm older.
We're learning about AM and PM in math, and we made these clocks today.
Oh. That's 4/10. This is 800ths.
Fruits and veggies to stay healthy every day. Street art, Banksy.
And who's Banksy?
Banksy is a street artist.
Ready? Hands on your head, hands on your knees. When you have a cold, it makes you.
Sense Critters here last week as part of their PBIS. Oh, it was.
I'm learning about reptiles, and maybe when we're done, Miss Regasso will print out pictures of all the animals that I like, and then we're gonna learn about snakes, alligators, and lizards, and that's my favorite part about this.
A curriculum is like a really high quality recipe with really good ingredients, and you can take those ingredients and just like really focus on doing the recipe well the first time, and then the next time around that you cook it, you can kind of make it your own.
You tailor it like you tailor your recipe to who's eating it, who's at the table. You tailor your curriculum instruction to the students that are in front of you.
Hey, Mr. McBroom, what have you learned while student teaching here at Hope?
I think I've learned more than him.
I have learned about teamwork and flexibility.
So I've been learning to be kind and good to others, and really learn and take 10 deep breaths when I need them. We made fortune cookies to give positive mindsets during my test. Yeah, and growth mindsets to stay positive. Writing in my planner so I can be organized. Working together to create a brownie.
So as you can see here at Hope, we're always making sure that our teaching is aligned with the curriculum and the standards, but there's also so much that goes into what these teachers do every single day between differentiation and making sure that they're engaging their students and really teaching to the whole learner in addition to the ELA and the math and the science. So that being said, if you want to go to a slide, I think it's like 3, it's got priority areas on it. These are aligned with our school improvement plan. So you actually like write these the year in advance. So these were the goals that we like set last year, and then when we got the RICAS data this year, we were able to see how we made in relation to those goals. So the state asks us to have a goal for ELA, math, and science, which we would be doing anyway. And then as far as additional priority areas for Hope, we're also looking at social emotional development and well-being, and also student attendance, because we have found a really close correlation to students learning and growth and the work that they're doing in with how they're able to like interact and engage as a learner, and also their attendance and actually being here to access the materials in front of them. So I kind of broke down the rest of the presentation by like priority area. So the first area I went into was ELA. I feel like we've done a really nice job of kind of streamlining our curriculum for ELA. Like we have had like the big broad ARC piece, which we absolutely use for like reading and reading groups and understanding text. But we've also found some areas that we've been able to support with other curriculum. Exactly. That's exactly what we're doing. Because no, just like as if you were like preparing a recipe, you kind of tweak to the people and their taste buds in front of you. It's the same exact way with our students, that we're tweaking to the ways that they learn best, and, making sure that we're looking at data and looking at, where are their gaps, where are their strengths, and making sure that we're kind of supporting those areas, and it's not just one size fits all. So we've embedded a lot of other curriculums. K to 3 are using bridge to writing, which really supports like that, like developmental process of writing. Like you could hear in the video, like kindergarten, we're learning about capitals and punctuation, and every year it grows and it moves on. And something that we've been working on in our common planning time as adults, we've actually been working really hard on vertical alignment with writing, and we're starting in kindergarten looking at the standards because that's our framework and our base. But we're talking about like, what do those standards actually mean? What skills does a kindergartner need in the classroom to be able to access the skills that are stated in those standards? And what should a kindergartner on the last day of kindergarten be able to do, and making sure that that's aligned with the expectation for what a first grader on the first day is supposed to do. And we want to make sure that, we think Hegarty is awesome, but we want to make sure that the skills that are being taught in Hegarty are aligned with those standards and are aligned with the skills that our student needs. So we're really working hard on like that vertical alignment of having teachers work with each other in other grades to really build up that writing. Because by the time we're finding kids get to third, fourth, fifth grade, and writing can be really challenging on the RICAS for them. So we're like, let's back it up, because as much as in third grade, we're expecting students to read a very lengthy prompt, be able to answer comprehension questions, pull out information, and write an essay on it, we can back that up even in kindergarten. And when they're learning about bugs and we read a little passage with them, what verbal comprehension questions can we be asking them to start preparing them with some of those skills earlier on? So the work is being done in the classroom at the student level, but also we've had a lot of really good, deep conversation at the staff level of how to take that curriculum, that recipe, and really tweak it. So thanks for that analogy, ladies. And as you can see on the next slide, the work that we're doing is working around here. Our ELA scores in the last year went up 9.8%, which, I mean, there's still always room for growth, of course, but I was ecstatic to see that. And that's all thanks to the hard work that's going on in the classrooms, from the teachers, from the students, and from the parents supporting them every day. And then you can see the breakdown. We've also been like looking at the different, like the different like topics that each grade is really strong in, and making sure that we're supporting the areas where they need a little bit more support. And then for our upcoming school improvement plan, we'll strive for another 8%. We did it once, we should be able to do it again. And then RICAS only looks at grades 3, 4, and 5. And it only happens once a year. So this is the first year that we're using it. It had been used in the district in the past, and the middle school, high school have been using STAR. So we were really excited to implement it in the like K to 5 realm, because now we have one consistent like progress monitoring tool that we're able to use all the way through. And we use STAR, kind of like we do a lot of progress monitoring with it, and the kids also take benchmark assessments in the fall, in January, and then towards the end of the year. And that really pushes like the direction we take as far as like our interventionists and who's receiving tier 2 interventions and tier 3 interventions. And our hope and our plan and what's happening is that we kind of support the kids with those interventions, and we increase their overall proficiency, and the interventions are able to fade out, and the students are able to support their own learning right within the regular ed classroom. So you can see just from fall to our winter benchmarking, we have another 8% of kids in the school that are proficient in ELA. Good when you are. So then similar format, our second priority area is mathematics. This is the second year where we've had continuous math curriculum from K-5. We implemented Eureka last year, and then it's a very similar but updated curriculum. It's Eureka Squared now. The company actually took like teacher feedback and they actually tweaked the curriculum, which was awesome to see. But we have students using that curriculum in K-5. It's been really interesting to see, like, by having that consistent curriculum, the way that it just builds on top of each other. So like the vocab words that students are learning in kindergarten, it builds on every year. And we have found that that consistent vocabulary is really important for them and kind of like understanding and building on their knowledge. We also use a number of other like supplement materials. So they have IXL and Zern, and those materials are kind of more like for practice, but the teachers can actually like select lessons that are aligned with the current Eureka Squared lessons, or they can actually, we call it like back mapping here at Hope. Somebody else coined that term, not me. But we can actually go through and see like what skills kids are missing that have been previously taught, and able to kind of supplement with some of those skills. Another like really cool thing that with the Eureka Squared curriculum, the kids are actually able to take a pre-assessment before you start a module. And in that pre-assessment, it actually like kind of test them for like the preliminary skills that they would need to master this new module. So it really indicates to the teacher what they need to go back and like, what is it one kid who needs it, or a small group, or the whole class that needs that reteaching to be able to access the new curriculum in front of them. And a lot of this work has been guided with our math coach here at Hope, which we are so super fortunate to have. She has really done a lot of work of, we have this brand new curriculum. We haven't had a ton of professional development on it. How are we implementing it? What are the most like salient pieces that we're pulling from it? Because we don't just want to follow it verbatim, but what's most important for kids to be able to learn and do. We're really proud to have really pushed and like put an emphasis on small group instruction this year, and making sure that the classrooms have the support to be able to do that, so that, you know, teachers are able to really differentiate right at that tier 1 instruction level to the kids that are in front of them. And, you know, like you might get that whole class lesson, but we're letting the kids who can soar through it kind of work on it themselves. And then at the teacher table, they have something that's going to enrich. And our kids that are struggling a little bit more, it gives that extra time at the teacher table to really boost their confidence in the skills. So we've been doing a lot of that work. We've also, our math coach has also started like classroom, like almost like visits where a teacher is able to say, I want to see somebody who's like stronger in this skill. And we've actually been able to set up like observations where they go in and see that skill in action. So it's been a really like wonderful experience of building capacity within our own staff and using the resources right within our own building. And then when does like all this work happen? It's happening at common planning time. We have data conversations 3 times a year in the past, and we're actually looking at kind of doing like a between cycle too, just because we're finding like 3 times a year feels like a really large, cumbersome amount of information to digest and to discuss. So kind of like breaking it into more like meaningful, small portions. And then we're in the initial phases, but really looking forward to planning our math night like we did last year. Where we actually invite families in and have like all activities set up of like math that you can do at home with your kids, and how right directly how it's like aligned with that Eureka Squared curriculum. But like fun things, like the kids enjoyed it. They don't realize that they're learning at the same time. All good. Math was even more impressive. We went up 13% this past year. So I just, again, as I was actually at a school committee meeting in full honesty when the scores came out, and I was looking through them, and I like can't believe I didn't put a scene because I was just like so excited we were at the senior center. It was hot in there. And that's when I was looking at these scores, and I can't express how proud I am across the board. That is people coming in and giving 110% every day to see that kind of growth. And then again, another 8% goal. I definitely think we can keep making strides. 13% might be a little bit ambitious for next year again, but it's definitely a high lofty goal for us to try and reach. So. And then again, you can see we use STAR for mathematics as well, and that helps determine, again, the students that are receiving intervention. And you can see our math scores overall are a little bit higher. But we went from 74% proficient in the fall to 78.5% proficient in the winter, and just more room to grow into the spring. And what they actually say with that, like tiered intervention, is like 80% of kids should be at your tier, like your tier one. So to have 78.5% there at the middle of the year is really exciting and impressive. So our next priority area is science, which I think I have to say is probably one of their like favorite subjects at school, just because it's so hands-on. And we've been using Mystery Science, which it's actually like an online program that the teachers are able to access. So there's videos and stuff for the kids, but there's so many hands-on experiences that the kids do. You can actually see in like my monthly newsletter, like I get science pictures because that's just like the most exciting, engaging time for the kiddos. In order to support science, we've been trying to bring in like a lot of outside programming, and our PTA is wonderful at providing those opportunities for our kiddos, whether it's animal activities coming in, or we had somebody who came in earlier this year who had like this giant earth dome that the kids actually got to go into. And when you looked up, it was like a 360 of like the entire like world. It was like a tremendous experience. And I think when you go back and talk to the kids, like at the end of the year, those are going to be like those most salient like images that are in their heads. We also try and support our science program through after school programs. Like you should have seen this room a couple hours ago. There was a robotics coding club that was in here, and they actually like the entire floor was covered. They were like making their own like maps and paths, and then they use a computer, like a tablet, and they actually code to have this robotic ball, go through like the design of what they made. So we really try and have enrichment opportunities through that. And a lot of that has been provided by the Learn 365 grant. So hopefully those keep on heading our way. And then we've also had like some data meetings on trying to, and GSA doesn't have as much. That's the test that fifth graders take. They don't have like as many released items and like supports as RICAS does to prepare the kids for the testing. But we have found that a lot of the science test actually has to do with reading and comprehending and pulling information from text. So we're obviously trying to use the resources we have, but also really hoping that, as we bolster those comprehension and reading skills that the kids are going to need to be able to like pull out the pieces that they need for writing, it'll also support with their science knowledge and ability to apply that too. Our science did stay stable at 40%. And I think it just has to do with, we're like pulling all these pieces together as far as like the comprehension and the writing, and really like honing in on a curriculum that works for the kids. And I think now that we kind of have all those building blocks, we'll really see it coming together on the NGSA scores in the future. The next is our ride report card. So we are currently a 3-star school. I was actually, I have to be honest, a little surprised when I opened it this year, because I was like, wait, our scores went up like so much. How is this possible? But I learned that it's actually off of 2 years worth of scores. So we have our work cut out for us this year, because the hope is that this next year should have a really large impact on our scores. And the accountability process actually takes your lowest number of star areas. They like don't give you credit for everything else. So you can see we also have 4 stars and 5 stars. It's really like that achievement, the RICAS scores and growth that have the 3 stars. So I'm really hopeful that we'll see kind of growth in that area in the years to come, as our scores continue to increase and our curriculum strengthens. But one thing that I do have to point out that I'm so, so excited about, the last few years, Hope has been identified. They give like a designation when the state is worried about one of our subgroup populations. So Hope's population with IEPs, our like special education population, was marked as an area of like concern that they weren't showing proficiency on the RICAS testing. And that designation is actually completely gone for us this year, which is huge. Like other schools and other districts like have state support coming in to help with that, but we were able to do that work on our own. And you can actually see like we have the max number of scores in that low performing subgroup area because of all the growth that we've made. So I think that that's something amazing to celebrate. Our fourth priority area, and this is something, maybe this is like the early childhood educator in me, but social emotional learning is like so near and dear to my heart, because I truly believe that, you know, if kids are coming to school like preoccupied with other stressors or unsure how to like control their own little body, that how are we getting that curriculum knowledge into their heads? So we are very fortunate to have the support of a part-time school psychologist and part-time social worker, so we're almost covered here to have somebody here throughout the week so that I'm not having to pretend and wear that hat too. But we do a lot of support with like lunch bunches and recess clubs. We have check-ins for kiddos. So like, you know, how was your morning? How are you feeling? What do you need from us today? We do a lot of work with zones of regulation of like what colors, like the colors of the zones are tied to emotions and where are you feeling right now and what do you need to move to a different zone. We have behavior checklists and rewards, a lot of communication with parents and families, which we're really grateful for because we find that, you know, like this report's going home to your parents kind of thing. And to have that support and tie in is really, really helpful. We use the Sabre screener 3 times a year, similar in timing to when we do the STAR um, benchmarking, and that really helps us to identify at-risk students and or classes. And that's, again, so it kind of falls under those tiered interventions of our support professionals supporting students and, you know, learning those regulation or reducing at-risk behaviors. As far as school-wide, we have our Husky Hoorays. We have a community meeting on a Friday morning where we actually do announcements all together. Our student council leads that. That's what the flag was from when we are all down together in the gym. And we actually hand out our Husky Hoorays. So those are written by teachers for the students in recognition of like above and beyond exemplary behavior. And then supporting that, we also have a school-wide PBIS program that we started last year. So that's really supporting our students for, as you could hear in the video, being respectful, responsible, and ready to learn. So I actually talk a little bit more about it on the next slide, but the kids are really, really motivated by it. So those are our blue little husky bucks on the left, and anybody can give them out. So we really have this now consistent structure of expectations, whether the kids are in the lunchroom or at recess or at music or in the classroom. Paraprofessionals can give them out. Secretary, principal, like everywhere. It's always work kind of like watching to keep you on best behavior, like to catch you on your best behavior. And the students have the opportunity to um, trade in their Husky Bucks either at a Husky Buck shop. Shout out to my awesome parents who help run it on a Friday morning. Or the kids also can save up. So we're also teaching, you know, some budgeting and having to make decisions for a monthly community meeting that we do. So that was like when Zen's Critters came in, we had winter cookie decorating. We had touch a truck in the beginning of the year where like police and fire. They all came out. We had like a dump truck here and the kids got to climb in. So there are some really cool, if they save up and don't, I'm sure parents like when they don't buy the junk too. But if they save up, they have some really cool opportunities too. And then you can see some pictures from some of the events that we've had this year. That like bottom picture actually, we've been really working on like supporting on the right where it says you got this. We really, really worked on like boosting our morale around RICAS testing, which I think it was definitely the instruction. But I mean, we had an amazing like pep rally for the kids where like K-2 was kind of hidden in the gym and they had glow sticks and we put on like this whole big celebration for 3 to 5. We had a clap in for them like the day of testing where again K-2 made like banners and really cheered them on and you could just see like they were in a different place from all that. So I think it's awesome for 3 to 5, but also for K-2 to know like this is coming up. Like these are my role models in front of me. This is what they're doing, and that's going to be me someday too. So we've really worked hard to kind of, you know, we're a family, we're a community here, and we all support each other. But we're not just a community here at Hope. We also have many community partnerships that we're so grateful for. We do a lot of work in programming with Hope Library. We're a Special Olympics unified school. We're a junior Feinstein school. We had our kindness tree out in the hallway. We have awesome high five Fridays with the sports teams over at the high school and other like community partnerships. So we have done drives for the food pantry. We have General Centracchio here. Again, we're just really trying to teach the kids like how to be active members of their society and good people. So and then this is my last priority area. I promise I'm coming to an end. So the last thing that we've been really focusing on here at Hope, on top of everything else, is our attendance and really trying to like figure out the root of why these kiddos are absent. Because, you know, let's be honest, a 7-year-old doesn't have as much control as we wish they did about coming to school. So, you know, we celebrate the good as far as like top attendance at the end of every trimester. But we also are trying to support families and like, why is coming to school an issue and how can we help with that? Is it busing? Is it, you know, concerns within the home? Like, how can we help? So we do have daily phone calls that go out when we don't know why a child isn't here. We've had in-person meetings with families who are at risk of being chronically absent so we can try and support some of those issues to try and get the students here. We have morning check-in plans for kiddos just to like, we have some kids who have anxiety around coming to school. So trying to like, if you get here, like you have this awesome, amazing, really enticing thing waiting for you. Our school psychologist and social worker used data from last year and identified a group of our like most chronically absent kids, and they were invited to be part of an attendance club. They actually have them like goal setting and like looking at a calendar and what is my goal for how many times I'm going to be absent. Hopefully I'm going to beat that in the next month. And really doing some teaching around why it's so important to come to school every day. And then our SIC committee, in addition to writing the school improvement plan, is really trying to also think of like positive incentives to help support in that area as well. But you can see our attendance is 20, according to like the RIDE has like this nudge tool, and our attendance is about 20% better than last year at this time. So I thought that was really great. And then kind of off of survey work, we actually had a 24% in how much. So this was asking students in grades 3 to 5, how much do you think missing at least 2 days of school in a month can like hurt your grades and impact your education? And 24% of kids more within this past year said that missing 2 days was something to, you know, be worried about. So the conversations we're having, I'm hoping are helping. And then with that being said, I'm out of breath and now it's your turn. What questions do you have? Nothing? Questions?
Question, you know that the 2-year rolling, you were saying that with RIDE, the 2-year.
Yeah.
So does that mean last year gets dropped off and we go this year and the following year and then after that, that year? Okay, so it's always inclusive of a current year.
Exactly.
It rolls.
Yeah, yeah. Good? Good? All right.
Done. And now we have a report from the Assistant Superintendent, Linda.
Thank you. And thank you, Becca. So as I've been doing, I'm going to go over an update that is also available publicly and attached to the agenda, but I'm going to do the Cliff Notes version tonight. So I'm not reading what's here, but it is available for folks. But I cannot do this without just starting with a very large thank you. What I tried to do in the report is just recap with respect to the storm that we recently had on January 26th. We had a no school, and then we had a 2-hour delay on the 27th. But what really needs to happen tonight is a sincere thank you to our police chief, the Department of Public Works, to Barry, our head of facilities and maintenance, to the facilities maintenance custodial crew. Of course, there are many, many others that helped, and I did list folks out here, and of course our families and our students. But those days become so questionable, and it is grounded in safety. And it was truly a collective effort and the work of essential collaboration that let us do that. And I'm very proud, but also grateful. And I just want to make sure that we memorialize that and recognize that. Also tonight, I wanted to review a little bit about employee updates. I had shared in previous meetings that I would be doing that, and I've listed those that we've talked about earlier, but we also do have a new long-term sub at North Scituate, and so I just wanted to welcome her, Julie Pekarski, to our district. She's doing, we're very lucky to have her, and we're excited about that. I also wanted to talk about 2 short-term supports with respect to the employment update. So that is, and I hopefully like folks are maybe figuring out, I start like with the beginning, little baby step by baby step, and let you see the things that are taking place, hopefully in a transparent way. That's my goal. So one area that I'd like to strengthen and feel like we need support in is a data and systems consultant. It's really not only a couple of hours a week, but I just did want to share this. In my work here, I've been lucky enough to sit with many teams at the schools, and some of the things that have really helped me to understand kind of behind the scenes have been what I'll call our MTSS folks, or the interventionists and the coaches that are really kind of seeing so many aspects from a K-5 perspective. But one area that I think we have in front of us is really sharpening our work around MTSS, which is multi-tiered system of supports for those who kind of don't speak all the educational jargon. And so this is something that is required of the district and is an area that I think can not only grow us in terms of being able to, what Becca shared earlier, customize and personalize, build that recipe for every student, but also pass it on from one year to another. So so we'll be welcoming in for a couple hours a week, someone who can make sure and help me to get that implementation, let the rubber hit the road, quite frankly, because we can talk about things, but it's time to have us sharpen our systems and empower this through line from a vertical perspective from K-12. In addition, a team of us, a second position, a team of us, central office, elementary building leaders, have been taking a look at developing an elementary special ed coordinator role. That would only be for the remainder of this school year, but would be much like a department chair you would see at the high school level, and would help us to manage our work specifically around students who have IEPs, help us with meetings, help us with coordination. And if you remember, we had our assistant director of special education has left, and that has left a void. And so by filling this kind of role, just a part-time, but would help us to bring, I think build capacity really is the word here, across the K-5 in terms of special education. I'd also like to just give a brief update on the Northwest Special Education Regional meetings that we've been having. So just on January 30th, it's the most recent meeting, and I've been meeting with the superintendent from Foster, Gloucester, and also with Brad Wilson, our director. And so we've really, I feel so far, we've met a couple of times. We've outlined potential pathways for a shared regional agreement. This would include having continued collaborative special education leadership model. So the shared director and his staff, and then also including the early childhood supports. And then we would continue to look at the shared occupational and physical therapy services, but then align those more specifically to our district needs. We've also continued to look at the ESY and how and sharing that piece. And then one kind of like step forward. So if you kind of think of the existing model the way you know it today, but I think one maybe 2.0 on that would be us really looking at what internal programs we could build and share with these neighboring districts. So maybe if their school has something that we don't offer, but now we're paying for tuition out of district, we would be able to tuition to their district at a smaller rate. And then we would be able to have a different program here that they would be able to tuition into our district. And of course, this is not something like we would do in secret. We would all work together with the folks in the district that are the experts. Our next meeting, just to keep you updated, is February 18th. And so I'll continue to every month bring updates to you all so you can hear. I know that time is of the essence with those conversations. And with all of that said, though, I only feel as though it's going positive. Also, I'm going to skip into the curriculum instruction and assessment section, but in here, I just wanted to share our leadership team did a little activity with a small article that is near and dear to my heart around what is a professional learning community. And so we unpacked this article in a very kind of quick way and then pulled it back together. And I know some buildings have also kind of carried that work on, but it was interesting to me as I just kind of reflect, we took this kind of quick vision. So I'm just going to give you these 5 bullet points that we walked away with. And that's really all I want to update with for you. There's more written, but so what emerged from the leadership team was that learning is our system's central focus. Collaboration is expected and supported. Data should be used for improvement and celebration, but not for compliance. And I think that's what I kept even thinking as we watched Becca's presentation, and even when the children say RICAS, but in my head I'm thinking celebration, like celebrate. This is when they're celebrating their learning. The fourth area that they pulled out of this little activity we did was that MTSS is integrated and the importance of it being integrated into everyday instruction, into all we do. And then also the importance of us as leaders to model the reflective practice and prioritize time for the inquiry or the action research, if you will. So we basically constantly study to make sure what we're doing is correct. We've also, in terms of curriculum, we're working across, of course, many areas with the focus. I'm just going to call out the focus areas of ELA and math, MTSS, data analysis, and one last area I wanted to call out is pre-K. And just that we do have a small pre-K team digging into this model, but also trying to aggressively go after dollars that are available. And sometimes you can have up to a $200,000 grant on the table from RIDE that could be available each year, not one time. So we would, of course, bring that forward and have the school committee well aware of what we're looking at, and but then also share with everybody for feedback on that. But we are working quickly because that is timely, and important for our early childhood learners. The next section is I'm going to share the presentation and the time with Mike, our principal, Principal Hassel. He's going to share an update on the program of studies, also CTE, and then a little bit about Move Up Night. Thank you.
Everyone, thank you so much for having me here tonight. I promise I'm not going to go through the entire program of studies. I know I really do want to, but I'm not going to. I'll start with the shameless plug. We have a very exciting event tomorrow night. Starts at 6 o'clock in the auditorium. It's our 8th grade move up night and career and tech open house. All of our high school teachers will be there tomorrow night. We start in the auditorium. There's a great video that we put together. We have a student panel. My daughter's going to be on the student panel. She didn't want me to say that, and now I did. So we're excited about that. There's a brief presentation around career and technical education, but really all of the great things happening at Scituate High School. So 6 to 8 tomorrow, if you can make it, it'd be great. And then everybody goes into the gymnasium, and every department will be there with some information, hands-on activities. Our seniors and juniors will be there representing those departments. But we've been doing this for about 7 years now. And every year it just gets better and bigger and more exciting. There's more career and tech tables that join that kind of circle of trust, we're calling it, in the middle there. And it really is a great night. So far for next year, I think we've had 30 applications for one of our career and tech programs. And of those, we've already said yes to 19. We'll talk about that later with budget, probably next month. Don't quote me on that. But we're really, really excited, and it's an awesome night. So if anyone's invited, community members, of course, school committee, if you can make it, it'll be great. But the program of studies is really the reason why we started this event. This is my 10th year as principal. About 9 years ago, I challenged our teachers. We surveyed our students. We asked families, like, what do we want to do with our program of studies? I said to teachers, this is your opportunity to really change or modify, or if there's anything that you want to kind of blow up and redo. And I know a lot of them are in the room right now, so thank you. They did it. They stepped up. An example of that is our English department. We looked at kind of a college model, and we surveyed kids, and we said, what do you want to take? So their senior year, they could take a semester of sports literature. They can take a semester of poetry. And it's been super, super popular. Mr. Bagley and the English department have done a great job of each year, like continuing to get feedback from kids and aligning that scope and sequence to the national standards as well. And that's just one example of the things we've done. So we started this process back in probably November. I share it with my department chairs. I ask for any suggested edits, any tweaks to the program of studies. And then ultimately we share it with every teacher in the high school. And this year, actually, if you can pull up we'll go back to this one, but if you can go to the presentation, there weren't many changes, but the changes that we do have are super exciting. So if you look at this first slide, where the 4 new courses that we're adding for next year that we've never offered before are all college-bearing courses. So we're offering 3 new advanced placement AP courses to Scituate High School that we've never offered before. The 2 that you see there, AP Cybersecurity and AP Business with Personal Finance, are part of the College Board's new Career and Technical Kickstart program. So Rhode Island is one of the leaders in the nation for career and technical education. Many people might not know that, but we are. And the College Board is looking at Rhode Island and a few other states to pilot these 2. Actually, it was piloted this year, but to implement them this year. So we'll be one of a few states and one of probably a few districts throughout Rhode Island to offer these 2 courses, and we're super excited. So the cybersecurity would be an option to any student as an elective. It wouldn't necessarily be part of our computer science pathway, but again, it's an option to any junior or senior that would like to take that. The AP Business with Personal Finance, we're tweaking our course and our sequence for entrepreneurship. This is actually going to now be the second step, their sophomore year, that students take in that entrepreneurship pathway, which is exciting because this is the first time that I'm aware of that we're offering an AP course to 10th graders. Is that correct? No. Our AP coordinator, Greer Monahan, shake your head no. What did... Okay, Greer. But thank you. Thank you. So we're excited for that AP Business with Personal Finance. And again, these are geared towards career and technical programs. So we're excited for them. The math department is rolling out AP Pre-Calculus. Mr. Sukar's back there. So he'll be teaching this next year. This will replace our honors pre-calculus. So next year, hopefully we will offer pre-calculus, college prep, and then we'll offer the AP Pre-Calculus as well. And then the final new course is our Introduction to Teaching and Learning. Mr. Sheehan, who's our CTE coordinator, and Beth Travers, who's our education CTE teacher. We met with Rhode Island College in the fall, and we just kind of put everything on the table and had a big brainstorming session with them to say, we have this brand new early childhood and education career and tech program. What kind of partnerships can we have with Rhode Island College? And their answer was this. This is not an EEP course, which means high school students can take the course and it aligns to their syllabus at Rhode Island College, and they potentially could get college credit at RIC or really most universities and colleges throughout the country. This will be the only high school who's offering this at the high school level as an EEP course. This is a course that students will take at RIC, and they opened it up to us, which is pretty cool, I think. So if we go to the next slide. We have a brand new culinary arts program. Mr. Nard is absolutely amazing. The food that they are producing in this program in year one is unbelievable. They're learning about hospitality. They're learning about food services. It's just, and he is just recruiting kids. He's engaging. He's doing an unbelievable job with this program. So they're not new courses. Well, they are. So we phased out family consumer science. Right now we're running with those course titles under the kind of older family consumer science, and Ms. Morton did a great job with that program, but he's revamping the scope and sequence, the description, and the names of those courses. The idea and the goal is to apply with the state for a career and tech education program. So we'll apply next year, and in the following year, we hope to be approved for a 7th CTE program in culinary arts. And again, Mr. Baxter will be talking in the next budget meeting about that. That'll be fun. But we're really excited about adopting a new curriculum, and it's called Pro Start. So we sat with a person who sits on the advisory board with the state in order to get this approved, and we're making sure that we're in line with when we're ready to apply. We've got facilities, we've got equipment, we're meeting the standards, we have the correct curriculum. And CTSO stands for the Career and Technical Student Organization. We have DECA, HOSA, TSA. This will be another one for culinary arts, and we're going to be offering this during period 8 and period 9 next year as well. And I think there's just one more slide. These aren't new courses. However, we were approved as of last month by the state for a 6th career and technical education program. It's called Academy of Music Performance or Music Education. We're very, very excited about that. So this is the sequence in courses if students would like to do that. We've offered this to Scituate students all along. We have a great music program. I was a music teacher myself and a band director in Scituate, so I'm personally really proud of this accomplishment. But what this means is now we can recruit students from all over the state, from any city and town, and they can apply for our music academy here. So that'll be certainly highlighted tomorrow night as well. And then if you go to the website, so tomorrow, students in grades 9, 10, and 11 will come down during the day to our course selection fair, and they'll have an opportunity to speak with every teacher, departments, seniors, and start to make informed decisions about the courses in their 2026-27 schedule. And they will get this brand new program of studies. They'll get this website that guides them through, like, what courses should you take next year. And then they'll have 2 weeks to go into Power School and choose their courses for next year. And then because we're so individualized, the 2 school counselors, Miss Lennon and Miss Trainer, will actually sit with each student and review their schedule, and then that'll go into Power School, and then that'll give us our course numbers for next year. What courses are running, how big are those courses, what do we need to run, what are some courses that maybe didn't get much interest. And that's, and then one more thing, actually, I'm sorry, if you go back to that presentation, I think I had a slide on advanced courses. There might have been one more. Is there another one after that? Okay, could you go back to the website? Thank you. Not this one, the website. All right, awesome. And then you click on advanced courses, please. So this is pretty exciting. When I came here 10 years ago, we were offering 9 college-bearing courses, high school students that could enroll in high school and potentially get college credit at universities and colleges throughout the state. And if you just scroll down a little bit, you can see them here. we are now offering 26 courses at Scituate High School where students could get free college credit. So we have students who graduate from Scituate High School who can have up to a year and a half of free college credit. And they're, students come back and they're like, their parents will say like, they graduated earlier. They were able to get into a master's program a lot quicker. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Now, these won't all run. We don't run 26 of them, but a lot of them do. Like there'll be a handful that, will run maybe every other year or every 3 years, but for the most part, and those are really between AP, EEP, which is a connection with Rhode Island College. We do have a couple of URI computer science courses. And then if you scroll down a little bit, sorry, I'm making you work tonight. Those are all the Project Lead the Way courses, and a lot of those have end of course exams. And again, a lot of if you don't have to click there, but students and families can click there, and it'll say which college and universities that those credits are accepted at. So, I wrote to the faculty in an email when this was kind of finalized last week, and reflecting on the program of studies, I think hands down we have one of the best course offerings and program of studies in the state. And it is truly preparing students for college and career and is giving them every opportunity. One of the lenses that we all had with our faculty and staff is that we are now competing. Number one, we need to do this because it's best for our kids and our Scituate kids, but we're competing with school choice at the high school level in Rhode Island through CTE. And this is a big component of that. And, I think we should kind of sitting back, we should be proud of the course offerings that we're offering at Scituate High School. Okay. So thank you to my teachers and thank you, everybody. Thank you. Any questions? All right, thanks.
Thank you. So I'm going to keep Mike here because what I was going to do is jump into an update on the safety and crisis planning. And so we just had an Alice subcommittee meeting. We've also had our crisis team meet. And so we wanted to provide a brief update. Mike has been taking a very huge lead in all of this work. So I don't know if you'd like to come up. And Colleen has also been helping us too. So I know she'll be back in a minute. Yes, that Colleen.
The other Colleen.
Awkward. I'm moving it. All right. Thank you. So I was asked this year to serve on the Rhode Island Safety Committee. It's mostly state police officers and, district and district administrators. But as the past president of the Rhode Island Principals Association, they asked me to serve on this committee, which I was honored to do. We've met a couple of times. They have a safety conference in August. But basically, one of the big tasks is this committee will ask by law, every school district has to submit a safety audit. And this committee actually goes through, like I was assigned Woonsocket and I had to go through all of the schools and like look at, what was their previous report. They have to do this every 3 years. And looking at things that need to be changed, some recommendations, some suggestions. So it's been really meaningful for me. Because of that work, I asked Linda and at the time Lori if I could kind of take charge and take the lead in district crisis management. So we've had a couple of meetings. I know the chief is back there. He's sitting around the table on these meetings as well. We have the EMA director. We have the fire chiefs in town as well. We have teachers on board, paraprofessionals, custodians. We decided after a couple of meetings to create a subcommittee that's specific to Alice. So we had our first meeting on Monday. I think it went really well. We were able to document really like what is Alice, what are Scituate's next steps with Alice, what's a reasonable timeline. And we left there with a pretty, I think, chunky document of like what our realistic next steps are. There's a training in Cranston in a couple of weeks. So by tomorrow, we're actually going to be sending something out to all the staff asking if they'd like to be certified Alice trainers. We're looking for probably 8 to 10 people throughout the district to become trainers. And then there's another training in Worcester in March. So we're hoping that, people can sign up for that as well. So we're going to kind of build the bench of Alice trainers within Scituate. From there, we're going to work on a timeline of say, how do we train our staff? So the teachers throughout the district will be the first ones to really go through that Alice protocol and Alice training. It's very specific. It's not, so we'll be actual certified trainers, and then we'll be following a very prescriptive curriculum on how to roll this out to every staff member, custodians, teachers, cafeteria workers. From there, we're going to continue to build out that timeline and say, okay, now how do we have age appropriate, developmentally appropriate trainings for kids? Because kindergarten Alice training looks a lot different than the high school hockey team at the, when they can just whack someone over the head. So, there are, again, it's a curriculum. I know kindergartners can do that too. But so we're going to be rolling out that timeline to say like, okay, teachers we need to get trainers, then we need to train our staff, and then it's kids, and there's a family component. And even part of Alice is like looking at the community and looking at, there might be a time where an Alice trained district where students and staff have information and they're going to the church down the street and they're calling 911 and they're not locking down in a classroom, but they have information that it's safer to run to the neighbor's house. So there's even like a communication to surrounding neighbors and businesses. So we're working that all out. Our next meeting of the subcommittee will be February 23rd. At that meeting, we've reached out to Cranston, and they have an safety and operations director there who's amazing. He's one of the leading Alice instructors in the state. And we want to pick Cranston's brain to say, you went through Alice, you implemented it. What do we think? Like, we're just at the start of it. What do we need to think about? What are some roadblocks that you hit? And what do we need to kind of think through? So that'll be February 23rd. It's the public school system. Yeah. Yeah. He is a retired police officer though.
Mike, can I just add, I was fortunate to be part of that committee, and thank you for allowing me to be there. So it was it's a process. This isn't going to happen tomorrow. We talked about it last month, and I think Jenna's gone, but she asked for who upstairs at this table is going to take accountability. I'm not doing this. This is the work of all these good people, but the process has started and it will be done the proper way. So it's not going to be today or tomorrow. I think this is, and we have more teachers here now than last month. I apologize last month that this fell to the side. This is something I think that I'm not going to point any fingers at anybody. I'll take a little bit of responsibility as being a member of the school committee. We started something and we never finished it. And this is paramount to everything, right? If our kids aren't safe and our educators, I want to share like a teacher at I'm not gonna say who it was because I was on Zoom and I'm not sure who it was. I think I know about wanting direction. They want to know what to do. They want to know the right thing to do. And our teachers for the most part are rule followers, right? Someone said that. I said, it's so true. Like, give me the tools. Tell me what to do. Teachers went, you didn't go to school to learn how to, to keep a safe environment. You went to become educators. So it's our job to provide you with the tools and all of our staff with the tools. And the first step we got to Mr. Hassel has been instrumental in kind of jumping in and making sure this doesn't go anywhere. The first step is training the trainers, right? We need people to be able to train but we've talked about some immediate steps, right? We're not going too far off. So to make sure that we're giving our teachers as many clear and concise directives, right? So they know what to do in the event of emergency. And I know we have a lot of school, but I'm very excited. I was kind of blown away by the collaboration and talking about what it looks like at different schools and how to implement it with fidelity. Our teachers want this. I think everybody we all care about kids, right? So I'm excited. It's a great team of people pulling together.
You. The last two parts I have are just facilities. It is the one of the second to last, and then the last piece I'll pass off to Rob for finance. But I also wasn't. We had recently had a building committee meeting, and so I wasn't sure too, Dave, if you wanted to share. But I wanted to make sure that we did bring forward the information about two things at Hope, the Hope boiler and the Hope roof. So first, the Hope boiler, our goal is to do, I'll call it like a short-term maintenance on it, but at least get it to the point that we're not like 4 mornings out of 5 a week wondering if it's going to start. And so this would allow us to have a more solid at least couple of years. So that is work that we'll be doing very soon. And then the second piece, and at the building meeting, we did talk about a lot of different areas in the district, but of course, the Hope roof was one. And we had expected, I just want to own this part, we had expected to put forward an RFP for the Hope roof to this meeting, but we were asked if we could do it for next meeting, well, next month. So, so that will be coming forward. And I wasn't sure if you wanted to, the price on that, it sounds like is changed.
We don't know. They're kind of all.
Is his mic?
I
Yeah.
think when we have the RFP, we'll have the exact price. They're still all over the place. It's like 6.3 to 6.5 million. Oh, no, 1.3 to 1.5 million. Sorry.
No, he's good.
Simmer down. But yeah, so they're kind of still, and what's the holdup is that when they want us to do it too, they think it's over budget and they're waiting. They don't want it to be done. Well, I think they want to wait until the summer, basically, I think is
Yeah,
kind of what's
the
going on.
Department of Education.
Yeah, right, is
Yeah.
holding it up. So they're still discussing that kind of stuff. What else was on there that's about it, but Kyle's supposed to have it for us this next meeting and we should have an RFP to put out for bid. And hopefully we can get it back on a timeline if they're going to allow us to move kids and do some parts of the roof. That's kind of what they don't want us to work while the kids are in session. So they're going to we're going to put a plan together. Is that what next step? And then
Yeah, and it's not uncommon. The Department of Ed really doesn't like you to do major work with students, but I guess initially the goal was to try to do that. We certainly move students in this building all the time for heating situations. So it feels like we're very, if they were working in a certain area, we could do that, but it is not uncommon for the Department of Education to not want you to have workers around the building like that and above you and trucks parked nearby while you're doing a major project. So it's understandable. And then we will have to take a look at the increase in price as we discuss that, just so everybody's aware and we're transparent about that conversation.
we haven't been able to get a bid yet. We're still waiting for the RFP so we can submit it out and get the bids. Right now, they're all really preliminary pricing. There's drawings and stuff that's been submitted, but it's in the final stage at RIDE.
Yeah.
But they're going back and forth with the architects and RIDE and how it's gonna go, and they haven't come up with the RFP yet. We're told we're gonna have it for next month.
Mhm.
We should have
Yeah.
it next month, so you'll be able to see it. We'll all really be able to see it at the next building committee if you're able to make it.
So, and it is, there's reimbursement with these dollars if you're not kind of familiar with this process. So because of that, RIDE does hold that kind of, it's basically, if you think about it in terms of like a grant, there are certain requirements. So before we can even put out an RFP to get the bids, they have to go through and make sure it's meeting all requirements. So but there is reimbursement, significant reimbursement. So we'll do that for that reimbursement. We also did discuss the generator work at the high school. I'll just hit a couple quick things. The generator work at the high school, I know folks probably remember the storm where we had the early dismissal. We had lost power. We also did not have water when we lose power at the high school. The middle school is very, very dark. So there is work. We are, again, to be very transparent, we're looking at doing that work over what would be April vacation. And that does mean if we lost power between now and then, that we would not have school at the high school and middle school because we would not have restrooms. So, so we're hoping that we don't have another big storm the way we did before, and we're taking it one day at a time. And then after that work is done, we will have a generator at the high school, and we'll have one at the middle school as well. So we should go kind of from what's been a challenging situation to a much more improved one. In addition, I just want to also recognize the recent storms have caused some leaking on roofs. I don't only think for the school department, actually. I think this weather is challenging, and ice dams are popular right now. Also, a broken gutter at North Scituate that was addressed yesterday. Thank you. So we are on this, monitoring it, but it is challenging. Also, we continue to meet and discuss the Cato field work, the press box. And so we did talk about that at the building committee, and the building committee is looking into some areas in that further. And then, if it's okay, I was going to thank Rob for being here. Rob is our finance director. And just kind of remind folks, when we look at our finance, we're living in 3 years very actively right now. Last school year, when we talk about an audit, that's really FY25. The current school year is FY26, where this is our day-to-day, this living budget, and then planning for next year, FY27. So with that, I'll pass off to Rob. So as you step us through.
Thank you. So we've had a very busy month this month. Very productive. We started off, we released the RFP for the lunch program. You may or may not know that RIDE has been delayed. There's been some oh, am I not on? Yeah, I'm on. So RIDE hadn't been able to reissue their proposal, their RFP, the request for proposals for lunch food service contractors. And they had recommended to districts that we go out for bid to see if we can't improve our situation. And we did. We were able to put that together. We had our pre-proposal meeting and walkthrough last Friday, the 30th of January. We had 7 vendors attend, which I thought was very good. So it should be a competitive bid, and I'm looking forward. The next step is questions in February, in another couple of weeks. That'll have to address those questions, and then the bids will be due at the end of March. And so we'll have the option to either, at the end of this process, to hopefully have a successful bidder. Maybe something will happen with RIDE, or at the very least, RIDE's allowing an extension, a 1-year extension, if for some reason, as a contingency, if the bids that we receive aren't favorable. But anyways, we're in good shape. We've spent significant time on fiscal 25 audit. We've made quite a bit of progress. We did have to request an extension, and it's been granted. We met with the Auditor General. The major items on our list are, and this might be a little semantics, but we've got to clean up the lunch fund, which we're almost done with. We had to process our payroll accruals, clean up some inactive funds, and just in general, just kind of correct our books in several areas. And once we've got that, we'll begin the final reconciliation, which we should have complete by the end of the month, and we'll be in good shape. So we should be done with our stuff by the end of the month, and then it gets turned back to the auditor, and they need to prepare the reports, and that's why the final due date is not at the end of this month, but later on. And basically items 1, 2, and 3 are fundamentally done. We're pretty much wrapped those up. I won't repeat, but we prepared the fiscal 26 end of year projection. The details in the report, and I mentioned about it. I won't repeat myself. I talked about that earlier. But bottom line is, based on the projection, we should finish to budget at the end of the year, by the end of the year. Regarding procurement, we've submitted for your approval 2 RFPs that we would like to release. The two RFPs are one for the repair and maintenance. This would be like extraordinary or one-time repair of the baseball field at Manning Fields. And then a second RFP to go out for the the fertilizer and grading of the infield, just like a one-time thing. So we're still continuing, obviously, the overall maintenance of the fields. It's just for these separate operations. I mentioned under procurement, because we discussed it at the last meeting, the going out for bid for workers' compensation insurance. So we've extended our third-party agreement with Beacon Mutual, and we're just waiting for the final document to come back from council, and then we'll release that. So we're still in good shape there. I mentioned, and I'll just skip over it. We'll talk in more detail later, but in subsequent meetings. But we are building an office action plan. So as we look for places to streamline our processes and become a more finely, oiled machine, these are some of the areas that I'll be reporting out on in future meetings. And finally, the fiscal, we're deep into the budget preparation process for fiscal 27. I've got to tell you, the one of the cool things that I'm finding about this district is everybody, this is very collaborative. It should be a very collaborative process, and it is here. I've worked with all of the principals so far, with the assistant superintendent, acting superintendent, and everybody else, and everybody is so focused on the outcomes for the students. It's very refreshing for me. I like it, and everybody's super talented and collaborative. So that's something you guys should be proud of and aware of, because it's not everywhere that you find that combination. Anyways, as a reflection of that, I've attached the budget preparation calendar with our milestones to the back of my report, which is in your packets, and it's been published. Meetings were held with each of the administrators. The administrators collected, their budget requests, their original requests from their staff and functional areas. We've uploaded that. We're going to use our accounting system this year to coordinate and consolidate the budgets, and to kind of to use the tools that we have to streamline our processes. We've got them in the system now. We're planning to have level, an elementary level and a secondary level meetings on February 11th and February 12th, respectively, where we'll go and we'll really sort through and kind of finalize. I don't want to say finalize, but hone our requests, including the non-staffing and the staffing. And at the same time, the administrators have another task. I've been giving them a lot of homework. We use Google Classroom, so it's kind of like turnabout is fair play. And one of their homework assignments is to review their rosters and some of the other data to make sure the data that we have in the system is accurate. So they're auditing that. And our next step, again, like I said, is to prepare is to have these meetings to develop a harmonized budget, and then we'll go from there to present, hopefully, to yep. So we'll be presenting the school committee budget workshop is on the 3rd of March, with the intent that we would be able to present it on the agenda for the 7th of April for budget adoption by the school committee.
For the third.
Yeah, so we would present it. So we'd have a budget workshop on March 3rd. The school committee would hopefully vote to adopt the April school committee meeting, and then we would present it to the town council. We presented the presentation to the town budget committee has not been scheduled yet, but we've requested dates, and we're working with the town to get a date between the April 8th and April 17th. And then we would present to the town council on May 14th, and the final meeting is on the 2nd of June. So that's the calendar. And I think that's it.
The budget workshop we were hoping could be before the meeting, like, so we could have time prior to the March meeting.
Yes.
A meeting of the school committee for a budget workshop. Yeah, so
Correct.
because there may be a meeting between then, I mean, depending on where we have to meet, there may have to be something between then and, you know, like before we actually adopt a budget, before we, you know.
Rob, I have a question for you. You had indicated the first one presentation would be March 3rd and then hoping on the following meeting in April to be approved. But what is the May 5th one? It's highlighted.
Oh, no, May 14th?
Fine. Highlighted.
Oh, no, that's just a regular May school committee meeting. No, that's just the regular May. I just put it on there.
Okay, thanks. Clarity.
So I don't know if we wanna, you were done with your, just, we can, thank you. We can hold these maybe, because I know it's up for, it's on our new business agenda, the RFP for Manning Field repair and the fertilization program. Do you want to just do that then, or? All right, so I'll put this out there. Obviously, we're gonna vote on an RFP, and that's, we're not spending any money yet. We're just putting requests out for services. So, so you know, I have been a huge advocate for fixing those fields. Where I started many, many moons ago, it was atrocious down there. There was like a drop off that a kid could get impaled by. It was, we've done a lot of work down there. And we keep spending money. And I'm not saying it's done, but before we expend any more money, I want us to go back and we've had multiple facilities director. This is no, we've had a lot of changes. We need this kind of mix. We need that kind of mix. We need, and I'm a baseball parent. I've been out there doing it. I'm not saying I don't want this to be right, but we have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I remember having this conversation not that long ago with the different facilities and the different, so I really want to know what we're doing. What I don't know that there can be any more infield in there, because we could have dug it all up by now and replace it with rye green and what stuff I don't even know about.
So I'll speak a little bit out of turn unless I can, Lord Barry, but basic, so this is not that large scale. What it is, the way I understand it, the best way to explain it is, so we drag rake the infield, and over time we push material up against the outfield border. It becomes uneven, then it starts to pond, and then you get weeds and whatever. So this is just a one-time thing to just fix that part, and fix and repair that so we get a level field without the puddling. So this is not the whole. Yeah. Well, because it's a recurring thing, because then when we go back to, again, using the tools that we have to, again, re-rake the infield, we're going to keep pushing the material up. And so every year, every so often, we're going to have to do it again unless we come up with a better way to.
And is there a better solution that instead of us always repairing it?
Yeah,
Versus
and I'm not,
permanent.
I don't want you to think I'm against this. Yeah, but it's a lot. And again, we had gator. I know stuff I shouldn't even know about. We had gators, we had rakes, we had this, we were collaborating with, we have a person who's specific to the field, or we did, you know what I mean? So just give me.
So when I came in, it was field to field to field. We got to make sure the field's ready. And so the people that have always done the work at the field, I met with them. So like Robert said, we drag rake, we push the material up, gets into the outfield, and it creates a ponding situation, which I guess happens all the time. The repair piece is going to cut out the weed section, resod what needs to be sawed, grab the material. We're going to have to bring in more and get the field to the proper grade that it needs. Keep the infield higher so the water pitches off and goes out into the grass like it should. So that's the first RFP. The second one, we already have somebody that they already do the fertilization. They always do that. But what we want to do is encompass a maintenance piece where they come in every 3 months and they pull all that material, because we're going to drag rake it. We don't have the grading material. It's like a $30,000-$40,000 piece of equipment. So they're going to come in, pull everything back in, grade it back to what's IRLL or whatever yeah. Is Rhode Island. So we have so everything is where it needs to be. And then we could if we stay on the process, it's always maintaining. We're not spending tons and tons of money.
Maybe this is the piece, so maybe we've never been, and believe me, I'm going after the baseball coach and the athletic director, because I've walked that, not going after them, I'm having conversations with them, just because I'm like, dude, we just spend so much money on, and at one point in time, they told me our field was going to be better than Fenway Park. Swear to God, my right hand, it's honest to God truth, like, the guy that did this worked at Fenway for 100 years, and I'm like, all these years later, we're still, and maybe part of it, and I know I can hear the idea in my head, well, you're not maintaining, and it's not a dig at who's doing the maintenance, right? But it's like that, I guess, the higher level of maintenance that's required. We do need to protect our investments. I'm
Right.
1000%.
I will say it down there, it looks good. There's not really many weeds. The only weeds are probably in that area with the sand, where the infield mix is getting pulled in. Otherwise, the field looks really, really
And
good.
I will say our coaches, our players, our parents, because we also use those, that's the only major league, that's the only regulation baseball field we have in town, right? So it's utilized off school times, but I've been out there in muck boots, you know what I mean? Raking and doing, so it's not for lack of trying. I get that, right? But it's just, I kind of feel like we've got to have, Mr. Hatch, were you shaking your head with me over there for a minute when I was talking about we've spent a lot of money and, right? Like we've done a lot over there over some before you came and then even over the last several years. So not going against you, just want as much information as possible.
That's my whole point is I just want to maintain it. So we're not going to go out and spend $20,000-$30,000 every year because we're not taking care of it and grading it the way that it should be done. And again, we don't have the equipment for that. I mean, we're still cutting and maintaining, and we'll drag rake and put an infield mix as needed, but we don't have the stuff that's going to laser grade and all that stuff. I mean, so that's really what this is.
Soil in there or something.
Yeah.
Is
I mean,
that,
fields do look good. It just needs the infield needs to be.
is it
repaired.
impacting the cross country field tracks at all? That goes on the outer side?
No, that won't
It won't affect it. Is it currently though, because it gets all muddy and you're pulling everything in, or
No,
they're
because
not
most of the ponding is in
in the field?
in the infield.
And I know game.
Yeah, because I heard stories about last year they were
Yeah.
out there with mud pumps trying to pump the water off the field, or using wet vacs trying to suck the water off the field. It's just like, it's not cost effective for anybody to be paying a person to do that, ruining equipment, all because we don't want to bring in material and take care of it.
The one other, I think, point of clarification is, that's a missing piece. I'm a real stickler for procurement regulations. This is not a major purchase. It may not even exceed the threshold of the $10,000 on each one. But,
Yeah, that's great.
but so I know we're seeing RFP, so we think it's a big spend. It may not be, it may even be underneath the threshold that we needed to go out, but just in an abundance of caution and to make sure that, again, we follow the rule, because we talk about rule followers. I'm a rule follower, and that's my job. So that's why I'm bringing these to you for approval, but it's not necessarily that they're not going to be big spends.
Is there a way, and again, I know you guys are both new to the district, is there a way to easily, again, I'm gonna talk to some people, but is there a way to easily pull, and I don't need numbers, to be able to find out what we've spent there, say, over the last 7 or 8 years? And I'm not necessarily looking to say, oh, we spent 200, but what have we already done? I'm just looking at a history to see if that would impact what we're doing. And if it's not an easy pull, then
I can take a look. I don't know.
should digging through
Yeah,
7 years
I
of
don't know.
invoices.
Yeah, our archives might be a little, that might, yeah, if I can easily, I'll go back as far as I can, as easily, as long as it's an easy pull, I'm happy to do that.
Telling you, there's baseball parents out there that are gonna rip at me, and they'll probably know every single piece that we did. So
Nice.
So do we have approval to jump through to the new business and hold on public comment to approve these? Or we want to do it in particular order?
no,
2 and 3.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I would, yeah, that's,
We jumped out of,
yeah, I'm sorry. I would, yeah, because that's not gonna really, unless there's anybody here that has public comment regarding the fields. Is anything anybody wants to, okay, it's just the RFP, right?
Yeah. Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the RFP for Manning Field repair?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And then approval for, or a motion, I'm sorry, motion to approve the Manning Field fertilization and grading services.
For the RFP, yes.
RFP.
Yep, so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Yeah.
So thank you, Linda. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate everything. I don't know if anybody has comments for that, but we're going into public comments now. So I guess. Anybody have any questions? Want to come up?
Yeah, this.
Public comment.
Yep. Anybody who's here to speak.
They're gonna line up.
Matthew Allen, 159 Hope Furnace Road. So I'm not dinging anybody. Let's start there. I've already grabbed 3 of you guys the other night at the building meeting, committee meeting, but I know it was a lot of snow, but our fence is now bent after we just had it fixed last year. And there's a big hole in the fence. I know roof, boiler, totally more important. Snow is bent against the fence, and stuff. I just wanted to be known that we did have that replaced last year. I'm the one who complained about the kids getting out through the big holes. But again, 2 poles are bent. 1 is disconnected and the fence is ripped. Obviously a plow got too close, grabbed it. And again, accidents happen. I just want it to be known, whether it costs $200 to fix it last year or $5,000, that's still money out of the budget. So that it's going to have to get fixed again, unless there's a magic way we can fix it and it's not as big as it looks. Maybe we can bend it back with some equipment. I know the school had some plow issues and the town jumped in and helped and whatnot. So again, not pointing any fingers, just bringing it up. Also, the pathways about the snow, making a path to get out of the fences and being able to close Hope's fence needed to some touch-ups that needed to be done, and the safety of getting the fence out through this. When you're looking at the playground, that back corner, we have kids that walk to school through that back, and they come up through the playground to school. We have kids that cross from the library over, and the sidewalks, I know you guys aren't the town, but the sidewalks aren't cleared, and to go up, they had to go up the stairs and down instead of going the normal way through the gate because of where all the snow got plowed. So I don't know if there's a better configuration. Again, there was a lot of snow. You had to put it somewhere, but a better situation, especially for parents and all that, picking them up. We've already talked about how pulling out of here is dangerous. Now you've got a big snow pile when you pull out. You can't see the left-hand side coming up towards 16, like coming up from Coventry side. Starting to melt now a little bit, but if you're in a regular sized car, you're inching out as they're doing 40 through a school zone, which we've already talked many times.
Yeah.
No, and we used to be able to kind of take 2 cars through in there. Now the buses are trying to get in, cars are trying to come out. It's holding up traffic even longer. Again, if there's a better way we could route the snow. Just thoughts. I know you guys aren't plowing out there, but
is this like in the pot? Is this
when you're coming out?
Can you remove the snow? You're saying that could
So
be...
honestly, I had hopes that the town were clearing some of the intersections that they would have scooped some off. Just because it was a school and they were like for seeing purposes of getting out onto the roads. But they did not. Because I watched them go through like the side roads trying to clear some snow. But I don't know if Scituate.
I don't know. This question's for
Barry. Barry, do you have any?
So I have a question. So the parking lot contracted out, because I know this is a state road, right? Is this a state road? We do our own.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a state road. I'm talking about we do our own property. Okay.
I kind of was asking the question earlier.
Yeah.
In the week, like what's out front, because it's
like
not town, it's a state road.
Right.
Does anybody, I haven't really,
Like who's,
I know it's a state road, so I just didn't.
I'm thinking out
This
loud.
is our first storm that we've.
Well, that's it.
Yeah,
It-
yeah.
it-
we had
There's
two-
a lot of
we had,
snow.
You know, we had 2 trucks down, we only have 3 trucks, we
But-
had 2 down, highway department
Yeah.
came and helped us out.
Is there anybody with historic knowledge? I know a lot of your department has changed over and I'm not, we haven't had this much snow in a while, right? But like, are we doing something different? Have we done something different in the past, right? That we're not doing now? And again, it's just people changes, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, I don't
right.
know, like, I'm thinking like, for an example, if this was Clayville, I'd be like, ask Mr. Spicer, he knows where they put all the snow. Do you know what I mean? I'm just using that as an example, like if there's something that,
Yeah.
but in the roadway piece, absolutely, that's
Yeah.
a traffic and like, that's,
Uh,
yeah, I,
yeah,
like, I don't
get
know
it.
if there's a way to,
Get a loader.
that's not in the budget, buddy. And I don't know if DPW has a load. I don't know.
They do, and you know, I mean, they've been out straight, they've been helping us out over at the high school
Mhm.
because we were limited on our parking, our access around the buildings, you know. They've been helping, I mean, they have their own work to do, they've been helping us out because we've been down vehicles and equipment also.
Yeah.
So it's just
Okay.
you know, again, I don't, this is our first big storm
I
that
know, I'm
Right,
trying to
yeah.
think.
you're pushing snow with.
We have a newer did our DPW director
Yeah.
change? And again, this is no
Yeah.
shade on, like, no, you know what I mean? It's just different faces. And Chief, I'm just thinking about like pulling into the roadways piece of it. Like, are there visibility, like, I mean, the laws and regulations that you would think we'd have to abide by, especially, I know, I think about it at the high school with the kids driving.
Oh,
with,
yeah, the high school. It's hard to get out. in and out.
No, I'm just, but it's still dangerous coming, and it's pretty busy over here.
So pretty familiar with the sidewalks and snow because Valley Breeze is going to be doing an article either this week or next week about snow and sidewalks. We have a town ordinance. If you own property,
You're
have a sidewalk, it's your
responsible.
responsibility to clear the snow.
Right.
It's not the state's job to clear the snow. As far as visibility, I haven't been in and out of the parking lot. I've been all over, but I saw them clearing high school parking lots because there were obviously student drivers over there and their parking issues over there. We can take a look here. If there's a concern, I'm sure DPW or Barry, someone will knock those down.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can show you DPW. I think they're appointing a director next week at the town council meeting. Don't hold me that.
Okay, no, I don't mean it, like, I
So
just,
it's an interim. John's doing it. Lamastro's doing a great.
oh,
job with
John's
that.
been around for a million
Yep.
years, so he probably knows the processes and doing,
Every storm is hit on a weekend, so these guys aren't getting a day off. And yeah, no, they just cleared all the snow out of our lot because to get our cruisers in and out. In our public parking area, we have a small area. They're doing their best. I can show you that, and we can take a look. We'll take a look. Yep.
because we do work so well, so collaboratively together. Your patrols are out and about. If they see something, do you know what I mean?
They
Like
always-
that,
yeah,
right? Like,
especially the intersections.
right. Or the school entrances, like, we don't want a bus getting hit. You know what I mean? We don't want, so it just,
If it takes a couple extra minutes to get out of the parking lot.
Yes.
Safety is paramount.
Yeah,
And
no.
we discussed that about the exit at the high school.
absolutely.
With
Yes.
That one lane.
Yep. No, it does. And you have to take the time to do it. But the scary part is if you can't see, regardless of how long you wait there, right? That's the piece where we need kind of, and you make a big point. A lot of us drive SUVs, this and that, but not everybody does. And we're not up high in buses and parents.
The buses can see because they're up.
Yeah.
high.
That's true.
And our buses are pretty good here where if you get them at the right time, they'll stop both directions to let all of our parents
Yeah.
out because they need to make the swing in. And the way Hope's parking lot is, you line up, is pretty much how anybody lined up today if they're parked in that parking lot.
Sure.
So as you're getting the kids, they're getting out early to get the kids out of the car so they can get the buses into the parking
There's
lot.
not a lot of space there, though,
It's not,
considering
and
what,
make
like,
the swing, and like I said, if,
Yeah.
I know you drive a car, you go to low to the ground and you go to pull out and say you're going towards the mills. Now they're starting to melt, but earlier in this week and last week,
Yeah,
you
I
could
just-
stayed. And I drive an SUV and I inch out, and again, I've complained about the speed limit and them
That's it.
flying through, but
Yeah, we'll have patrols in front to take a look at that stuff.
Perfect.
See what we can do.
Thank you, Chief.
Hello. Courtney Griffith, 29 Main Street. I was just wanted to make everyone aware in the school department and school committee that everyone on Main Street did get a packet from the DOT. Several weeks back, they're going to be repaving 116 and taking out the sidewalks and I guess repairing or replacing them or something, starting from Hope Furnace Road all the way up past the school to Blossom Lane.
And again,
I wasn't sure.
no, thank you for
They're gonna
bringing.
be using
Buses
some
are
of our.
gonna need to.
Yeah, we had to vote on that. It
Yeah.
wasn't, it was something that, but I don't know that we had this was months ago that we received notification. It was a state, and when did you say it would be starting?
They didn't specifically say,
okay.
but they just gave us, they just came around, the deputies delivered packets to our homes.
Oh, wow.
To let us know this will be happening sooner than later. So I know that'll impact Hope, but that's also gonna impact.
Did you get any
middle
here at
and
the
high
school back?
buses.
Okay. Yeah, it might be
So
regulations.
the bus company should know and you guys
Do
should know.
do we shovel our sidewalk? We have sidewalks in front. Do we shovel our own sidewalks? Did you just answer that? Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
That'll be.
But I
and
think, I'm sorry. Yeah.
if they're taking out the sidewalks, it's also gonna impact the kids that are collected up Main Street, for the middle and high school who have to walk to a bus stop
Yeah. So,
on the main road.
okay.
I just wanted to.
Yeah, no,
everyone to
thank
know.
you. Chief.
The project's starting, I believe in the spring.
Okay.
It's been years in the works.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, they're gonna actually start it at 117, down at 116 and work all the way up through the town. So it's gonna start in Coventry first.
yep. And then,
They're gonna widen the road, they're gonna widen as much as they can and widen the sidewalks. So it would be better when it's done, but we're aware. Obviously, when the construction starts, we'll have our traffic guys out there.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
they'll obviously assist with school buses and school parents. and
Yeah. Especially when they're in this.
Dismissal and arrival, so.
Did you answer? I don't know. I think maybe it was Mr. Finnegan. So you had said that we do have a town ordinance. Are our sidewalks shoveled in front of our schools? I didn't notice pulling in today. I apologize. But so I think we need to look into that then. I'm sorry. Yeah. Like we're a public entity. Again, there's been changes in facilities directors. There's been changes in, but that's deafening. Oh. Okay. Okay. No, I appreciate that. So, okay, we're good.
Barry, can you have that taken care of?
Yeah, I'll call DPW. We don't have any.
You don't do it, okay.
But who would do that on it? So on an ongoing basis, this school's been here 100 years. So if we're supposed to have shoveled our walks for the last 100 years, it's been done. And I don't know who did it. I can guarantee you it's probably not DPW out there just.
Asked us.
I think it's
On it, and what was the impression I got that they didn't do it.
Okay,
They didn't do the sidewalk because, I mean, honestly, for what we have to do here for sidewalks and then out there, we don't, if they're coming by with the trucks pushing all that snow, we don't have a snow blower that can handle that much snow. You know, if it's a small little storm, it's one thing. Something like this, they can't. I mean, those guys would be there all night long, walking up and down, blowing shear out of the thing. I mean, that right there is really that's really a DPW type of process because
I'm not.
You can't blow if you're still blowing the sidewalk. You can't get into the street side. One, it's not safe for anybody. Right, and that's the thing is how do we, we gotta get the snow up over the wall if that's the case. It's really a DPW thing where they would
Barry,
have to
can
come
you-
in as they clear an intersection.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could talk to them and ask.
Can
them,
you
but
find out, like, if they must know historically who,
DPW or state, because it's a state road, so I didn't.
yeah, but the state's only doing the road, they're not doing the sidewalks. The town would be, I mean,
No,
they're not gonna
and
do-
again, I think back.
I know.
Yeah, so
But
if it was an inch to it, maybe historically they've done it if they're.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
just
if you could just
Yeah, because
follow up and find out who, it's gotta be done.
all over with schools. I know most communities they have to be done. So yeah, I'm not blaming DPW. for
Yeah,
that.
no.
They've been out straight. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
I'll talk to them.
Thank you. Just figure out what we.
Thank you. You have something else?
You're not getting a backhoe, but you might get a snow blower.
No, I just want to say, Acting Superintendent Savastano opened her report up with, she's concerned with the safety of our children. I came by the other day and I saw this. That's why I'm here. The pictures. It's disgraceful. And we have a town ordinance that says you're responsible for the sidewalk in front of your building. And there's fines that go along with that. So I would expect that sidewalk to be done tomorrow. Not only in front of the school, but if the children walk from the school to the library, which I'm told they do after school programs, you should make sure that they can get there safely. This is a state highway. This is inexcusable. How about if a child gets hit on the state highway? This is very serious. Somebody dropped the ball, and I expect it to be corrected by tomorrow. And I hope it is. Okay.
Becca, I know we collaborate frequently with the library. Presently, are there any programs that are going like after, like I think you said the grant, the 365, is there anything that's happening? Nothing, it's whatever is doing is here. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Mark. Last question. How many children, do you know offhand roughly how many do we have walkers to school? Roughly 10, 20? I mean, it doesn't really. So, okay. Yeah, fine. It's still, yeah, no, yep, okay. Okay, fair point. Thank you. I'm sorry, Mom.
Jackson Flat Road. So I live very nearby and I travel these areas frequently. And both my girls went to school here and, they're approaching 30. So, I have that time span to go by. But there was a gentleman a custodian who was a custodian here for a very long time. And he was always out on the sidewalk shoveling during storms. I have that memory. So of course I understand the level of snow right now is not suitable for shovel, but I do know custodians have shoveled these sidewalks. They've gone even down past the opening to the, towards the intersection of 115 and 116. I mean, they did a good job and they worked hard at it.
Thank you. So I'm sure Dana Morel can answer that too. You can ask her.
Sure.
But I do agree. One prior, I don't even know who's here right now.
Yeah, but we'll, yeah.
Anything else? I think I saw, is that Bobby? You're on? Sorry.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to say thank you, Superintendent, for your detailed reports
Bobby,
every
could you
month.
just say, oh, no, mind. You got it. Okay,
Sorry,
go ahead. Sorry,
Bobby Coletta, 9 Brett Drive.
Yep.
I just wanted to commend the superintendent's reports every month. It's something that I looked at. The level of detail and insights that we're gaining from those reports is really helpful for us to have productive conversations at these meetings. So thank you for that insight and those details. Again, that's been very, very helpful. I also want to say thank you guys for actually having the meeting at Hope. I think it's important, and I'm sure that you guys gained a good perspective walking through that building today in comparison to some of the other buildings that we have here in our municipality. So, thank you guys for making that effort in both cases. So I just want to thank you both. Thank you all for that. And Becca, thank you for the great report on Hope. I know that these kids are having a wonderful learning experience. I know these teachers are pouring everything they can into their learning, and the test scores show. So thank you all around. I know that I come on often with ideas and thoughts and sometimes complaints, but I do want to commend the good work that's being done. So thank you all.
Thank you, Bobby. Anyone else? Okay, so we will move on to new business. The Rhode Island, we need a vote on the Rhode Island student survey. If people are not familiar with it, it's a survey that we typically do annually, and it allows us to receive grants in different aspects. So if we do not participate, we're not eligible for some of those grants. Any discussion, or we have a vote and then we can go into discussion?
Right.
Vote.
I make a motion to pass the Rhode Island student survey.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion? So move. And then we're going to go into the first reading of policy 9105, use of electronic devices in the schools. This is a new policy, so it will be the first read.
I make a motion to vote for the first reading of policy 9105, use of electronic devices in schools.
Second.
Oh, both second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Any announcements?
Last plug, move up
Last
night.
plug.
I got it in, Mr. Hassel. It is an amazing experience.
It
And who knows, I
is
know they're mostly gone, but all of our
9:43.
teachers, all of our everything are there, so it's great.
43, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for
Thank
being
you.
here.
I make a motion to close our regular session.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion.
Motion.